So here's a controversial statement, a bold claim, if you would. I have, no interest in the MCU anymore. And I understand the irony of saying that while wearing a Spider Man shirt. Marvel just announced the Multiverse Saga at San Diego Comic Con and the lineup for phases 5 and 6, and not a single one piqued my interest. And there's a rumor that at the Disney Expo they will also be making more announcements. But the overall consensus online is that Phase 4 has been disappointing, and from what I've seen, I agree. The thing is that Endgame was such a great ending, and I walked out of the theater satisfied. And I said to myself, I think I'm out. And that should be okay. Things can end. You don't need to be invested in something forever, which weirdly enough is what my father once said about me. But seriously, I don't like Doctor Strange. I don't really like Guardians of the Galaxy. Thor was really only interesting to me in Infinity War and Endgame. I hated Ragnarok, so I wasn't stoked for another solo movie, and I'm not seeing Love and Thunder. I'm just not seeing it. I don't want to. This version of Spider-Man has really only been interesting to me and compelling in No Way Home, which was obviously after Endgame. So when I saw Endgame, I was like, well, I don't really want to see Tom Holland Spider-Man wasn't keeping me invested. It wasn't going to carry the franchise for me. And as much as I love Paul Rudd, I don't really like Ant-Man either. So none of the Avengers are really getting me excited. Phases 1 through 3 had 20 movies over the course of 11 years. Phase 4 alone has 14 projects, which started in 2021's Black Widow and ends in 2022's She-Hulk. And I know Black Widow got delayed a lot, but still, that's a lot of content for only 1 year. Phase 5 is going to have 12, starting with Ant-Man 3 and ending in 2024's The Thunderbolts. And if you think to yourself that that's a lot of stuff in just a little bit of time, then you'd be correct, because Kevin Feige said the exact same thing.
The phase 1, 2, and 3 were less projects over more years. Now we're doing more projects with all the amazing series we're able to do on Disney Plus over less years.
This kind of more just speaks to my larger problem with pop culture right now, where just the fact that something will come out does not excite me anymore. Okay, yeah, they're making a new Fantastic Four movie. That's cool and all. They are pivotal characters in the comics and the history of the company. But who's in it? Who's directing? Who's writing? What's the tone going to be? So just the fact that it's coming out, it's like no game, no hype. I loved the Daredevil show, so are the people behind the camera coming back for the Disney Plus show? Will it retain its darker, grittier elements, or will it change to better fit the style the MCU is known for? And why is he wearing yellow? I know it's comic accurate, but why would this version of the character be wearing bright canary yellow? I know he can't see, but the criminals are going to spot him from a mile away. Brown Table did a good video on Marvel's use of hype and cameos, and it seems like a big draw for the movies now and shows is who's going to be in it, who's going to show up. And it seems like they pull focus from the main storylines to introduce or reintroduce characters, which I guess is effective, but it reminds me of Batman v Superman when it switches to a Justice League promo for that little bit. And it seems that people didn't like that, and it made the DCEU feel rushed. But Marvel and Kevin Feige have planned a lot out, and they are definitely in it for the long haul, and they can plan things out. So who knows? Maybe they can pull it off and make it all feel natural and coherent. With all of these shows and movies, each one is getting bigger and bigger, and it's reminding me of how hard it is keeping up with comic books. I remember back in the New 52, I was trying to read the Death of the Family storyline, which was a big crossover event with Batman, Batman and Robin, Detective Comics, Nightwing, Batgirl, Teen Titans, Red Hood, Catwoman, and Harley Quinn, if she had her own run at the time. So that's 8 or 9 comics with multiple entries per character, and I was a teenager, so I wasn't able to go every week or month to keep up with it, and eventually I just got the paperback and was able to read the whole story. And they did a big DVD collection of the Infinity Saga, but you can't really do that once TV shows are thrown into the mix. So I guess they'll just be a collection of each phase on Disney Plus or whatever. But what I'm saying is there's just too much to keep up with. And if fans are happy, great. You know, the people making these movies, they're getting paid, they're paying their bills, they're putting their kids through school, except for the VFX artists who are getting overworked and underpaid, but that's a whole separate issue. So there's a lot over shorter time frames, but another thing that is contributing to fatigue, at least for me, is that everything is homogenized. While the non-Marvel owned properties varied in quality, they also varied in tone and styles, and even within the X-Men franchise, you could have one movie wildly different from another. And even with Wolverine, you have something that's goofy and over the top, like X-Men Origins, and then you have Logan, which is inspired by classic westerns. And I'm not sure if DC is planning on exploring the multiverse in the sense of like, trying to connect them, like with Spider-Man No Way Home. But I don't think they have to. I like, and as just a moviegoer, it's nice to say, like, well, you know, maybe the Batman isn't your cup of tea or something like that, but it's like, well, you know, we have this other version of the character just completely separate with different people behind the camera and different inspirations, different comic book adaptations, and I just like that a little better, I guess. Like, I like the connected stuff as a comic book fan. It's fun, but also, you know, Superman and like a Justice League in the Nolan verse and even the Robert Pattinson verse might be a little weird if everyone is similar to Batman, you know, and it is nice to have different versions. Like if there's a new Superman movie that isn't Henry Cavill that has nothing to do with the Matt Reeves Batman verse and maybe does its own thing with other characters and doesn't even have Batman in it or something. That could be cool, you know, like you never know. And it just seems like when you get big enough for a connected universe, it starts feeling small, ironically, because you can't do certain things or sort of put in a box. Anyway, that is my rant. Are you looking forward to the future of the MCU? What projects are you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. And check out the other videos on screen. Thanks for watching.